Have you ever asked ChatGPT a question and been amazed by how it just seems to know the answer? It's like chatting with a super smart friend who's read everything. But how does it actually work? Is it magic? Not quite. The secret is clever science and engineering. Think of ChatGPT as a super-powered parrot. It mimics human language by spotting patterns. It doesn't have feelings or memories, but it's a master at predicting what comes next. Trained on massive amounts of text, it guesses the next word, one at a time. Let's peek behind the curtain and see how this tool really works, step by step, with simple examples. Ready to become a ChatGPT expert? Let's dive in. ChatGPT's biggest secret? It's a super guesser. But what does that really mean? At its core, ChatGPT isn't thinking or planning like a human. Instead, it's playing a high-speed game of what comes next every time you type a message. It doesn't create whole sentences at once, it predicts the next word, then the next, building answers step by step. Imagine a row of dominoes, each one representing a word. ChatGPT tips the first domino, and then, based on how the others are lined up, it figures out which domino should fall next. This process repeats word after word until a complete sentence or answer is formed. Imagine finishing your friend's sentence, "The cat sat on the..." You'd probably say mat. That's because your brain has learned, from years of experience, which words usually go together. ChatGPT does something similar but on a much larger scale and at lightning speed. ChatGPT does this on a massive scale, analyzing billions of sentences. It's been trained on a gigantic collection of books, articles, websites, and conversations, so it's seen more examples of language than any one person ever could. This lets it spot patterns and connections that might not be obvious to us. When you ask, "What is the capital of France?" you're not just getting a memorized answer. Instead, ChatGPT is using its pattern-spotting skills to predict the most likely next words based on your question. It predicts each word in order. The capital of France is Paris. Each word is chosen because it fits best with the words that came before, and with the patterns it has learned from all that training data. It's not recalling facts from a database, it's constructing sentences based on probabilities. There's no giant list of answers hidden inside. Instead, it's all about the math of what word is most likely to come next. To bake a cake, you first need to... ChatGPT looks at all the recipes and instructions it's seen before, and figures out what usually comes next in that context. It predicts, preheat the oven. But it could also predict other reasonable steps, depending on the context and the words you've already typed. It's always weighing the odds, making the best guess it can. Each guess is informed by the words before it, creating a chain reaction. The more context it has, the better its guesses become, and the more natural the conversation sounds. This word-by-word prediction is why ChatGPT sounds so natural. It's not just spitting out canned responses, it's building them, one word at a time in real time, just like we do when we talk. Human language is full of patterns, and ChatGPT turns this into math. Every sentence is a puzzle, and it solves it by calculating which words fit best, using probabilities and statistics. It doesn't understand what a cake or oven is, but it knows those words fit together because it's seen them paired up so many times. It's all about recognizing patterns, not understanding meaning. This simple trick powers everything, from poems to code, from stories to answers for your questions. Whether it's writing a joke, solving a math problem, or helping you draft an email, it's always just predicting the next word. So next time you chat with ChatGPT, remember, it's all about predicting what comes next, one word at a time, using the power of patterns and probability. So, how does ChatGPT handle all the words and punctuation? It breaks sentences into smaller pieces called tokens, like Lego bricks. A token can be a word, or part of a word like unforgettable. This makes language processing efficient and flexible. Instead of memorizing every word form, it learns the core parts and how they combine. When you type a prompt, ChatGPT chops it into tokens and processes them. The token system is why there's a limit to how much it can remember at once. Each model has a context window, the max number of tokens it can see. If your conversation gets too long, older tokens get pushed out. Tokens are the building blocks that make ChatGPT powerful, but also set its limits. Here's where things get really cool. Imagine you're reading a book, but instead of focusing on just one word at a time, you're able to take in the entire page all at once. That's kind of what's happening inside ChatGPT's brain every time you give it a prompt. ChatGPT doesn't just look at the last word, it considers the entire context of your prompt. Every word, every phrase, and even the subtle hints in your sentence are all taken into account. It's like having a super attentive reader who never misses a detail, no matter how small. Thanks to a technology called the transformer, it uses attention to weigh every token. This means it can decide which words are most important for understanding what you really mean, and which ones can be given less focus. It's a bit like highlighting the key points in a paragraph while still keeping the rest in mind. For example, in "The delivery driver dropped off the pizza, and after he left, my dog ate it. It knows it refers to pizza." This isn't just a lucky guess. ChatGPT is actually tracing the relationships between words, so it can follow the story just like you would. This attention mechanism helps ChatGPT understand pronouns, follow instructions, and match your tone. Whether you're being formal, casual, or even a little sarcastic, it picks up on those cues and adapts its response to fit the mood. If you start with "once upon a time," it predicts fairy tale words like princess or castle. It's not just guessing randomly, it's drawing on patterns it's seen in thousands of stories, so it knows what usually comes next in a fairy tale. It's not just stringing words together, it's weaving them into a coherent whole. Each word is chosen to fit smoothly with the ones before and after, creating sentences that make sense and flow naturally, almost like a skilled storyteller. Think of it as a detective, piecing together clues from the entire sentence. It looks for patterns, connections, and hidden meanings, making sure it understands not just the words, but the intent behind them. ChatGPT scans your prompt, finds the key tokens, and makes an educated guess about what comes next. It's constantly analyzing, comparing, and predicting, so its answers feel relevant and on point. That's why it can handle tricky questions and keep a consistent topic. Even if you switch subjects or ask something unexpected, it can usually keep up, because it's always looking at the big picture. It's a master at seeing the big picture. Instead of getting lost in the details, it zooms out to understand the overall meaning, making sure its responses are thoughtful and connected to everything you've said so far. This is what makes its responses feel so human. By reading everything all at once, ChatGPT can respond in a way that feels natural, friendly, and surprisingly insightful, almost like you're chatting with a real person who truly gets what you're saying. How did ChatGPT get so good at predicting words and understanding context, almost as if it's having a real conversation with you? The secret isn't that it was programmed with a giant list of grammar rules or vocabulary. Instead, it learned by reading, just like we do when we're trying to master a new language or subject. During its training, ChatGPT absorbed a massive amount of information from the internet. It read Wikipedia articles, classic novels, news stories, blog posts, and countless other sources, essentially a huge slice of everything people have written and shared online. Imagine a student who never stops reading day and night for months on end. That's what ChatGPT did, processing billions of words and sentences to learn how language works in the real world. Its main task was to guess missing words and sentences, over and over again, billions of times. Each time it made a guess, it learned a little more about how words fit together. If it guessed wrong, it didn't just shrug and move on. Instead, it adjusted its internal connections, like tweaking the gears in a complex machine, so it could do better next time. This process is called machine learning. Rather than following step-by-step instructions, ChatGPT learned from patterns in the data it saw, gradually improving its understanding with every example. It's a lot like how a child learns to speak by listening to people talk, trying out new words, making mistakes, and getting better with practice. By analyzing an enormous variety of text, ChatGPT built a complex internal model of how words, phrases, and ideas connect. It learned not just what words mean, but how they're used in different situations. That's why ChatGPT can talk about so many topics, from science and history to music and pop culture, and can switch between different writing styles with ease. It can write like a pirate, a scientist, or even a poet because it's seen countless examples of those voices and styles during its training. But remember, ChatGPT isn't actually thinking or understanding like a human. It's matching patterns, spotting what words and ideas usually go together, on a scale far beyond what any person could do. In the end, ChatGPT is a reflection of the vast information we've put online, echoing the knowledge, creativity, and even the quirks of human language back to us. How does ChatGPT summarize a long article? It breaks the text into tokens, scans for key patterns, and generates a shorter version. Using its attention mechanism, it highlights main themes, like government policy or economic impact. It gives these concepts higher priority and builds a summary around them. The result, a concise paragraph that covers the main points. But it can miss small, unique details if they're not mentioned often. ChatGPT is great at capturing the gist, but sometimes overlooks nuances. It summarizes patterns, not meaning. That's why its summaries are quick but not always perfect. Ever seen ChatGPT help create images from a short description? Here's how it works. ChatGPT doesn't draw, it's the language expert. It takes your idea and turns it into a detailed prompt for an image AI, like DALL. For example, it might turn "fluffy pink cat in space" into a vivid, specific description. Then, the image AI, trained on billions of pictures, starts with random noise and refines it step by step. This process, called diffusion, sculpts the image to match the prompt. ChatGPT acts as creative director. The image model is the artist. Together they turn your words into pictures. It's teamwork between two powerful AIs. How does ChatGPT know about recent events? By itself, it only knows what it was trained on, up to a certain date. But now, it can browse the internet for up-to-date info. When you ask about something new, it pauses and searches online. It scans articles, pulls out key facts, and summarizes them for you. For example, if you ask for a football score, it finds and reports the latest result. It often cites its sources too. But remember, it's only as accurate as the info it finds. If the top results are wrong, ChatGPT's answer might be too. It's a fast researcher, not a fact-checker. ChatGPT is powerful, but it's not magic. It predicts words, breaks language into tokens, and learns from tons of text. But it's a pattern-matching machine, not a conscious being. It doesn't understand truth, just what words fit together. Sometimes it makes mistakes, called hallucinations, plausible sounding but incorrect answers. It's not lying, it's just following patterns. Always double-check important facts from reliable sources. Think of ChatGPT as a helpful but sometimes unreliable assistant. The more you understand how it works, the better you can use it. AI isn't magic, but the human creativity behind it is. Now you know the secret.